This video is the next video in the algebra set of videos, and in this video we're going to be looking at forming quadratic equations when given the roots of the equations. Hopefully you can remember that if we were to graph a quadratic equation, which you'll be doing when you're looking at functions, a quadratic equation will always look like a u or an n. So if we take one of those, be it the u here, the roots are where the graph crosses the x-axis, and in particular where y is equal to 0. As it says here, when given the roots of an equation, we can work backwards to find out the equation, and it's best explained by going through an example. Here it says form the quadratic equation with the roots -4 and 5. If we were to have solved the quadratic equation to give us -4 and 5, we would have found that x is equal to -4 and x is equal to 5. Now that's when y is equal to 0. We can work backwards to figure out what the quadratic equation would have been by plussing 4 to both sides here, leaving us with x plus 4 is equal to 0. And on the other side, we can minus 5 from both the x and the 5, which will leave us with x minus 5 is equal to 0. Then what will happen is we'll be left with x plus 4 is equal to 0 and x minus 5 is equal to 0. Both of those things would have been multiplied by each other when we were solving the quadratic equation. And we would have seen this, x plus 4 multiplied by x minus 5 is equal to 0. To figure out the quadratic equation, all we would have to do now is multiply out the brackets. When multiplying out the brackets, we have the first term in the first bracket, which is x, multiplied by the second bracket, which is x minus 5, and the second term in the first bracket multiplied by the second bracket, like so, and that's equal to 0. Multiplying out the brackets, we get that x squared minus 5x plus 4x minus 20 is equal to 0. And then we can add the like terms, and you can see here that we have minus 5x and plus 4x. That leaves us with x squared minus x minus 20 is equal to 0. Looking back at what we've done, we formed the quadratic equation from the roots -4 and 5. In example 4.2, it says if the roots of the quadratic equation x squared plus ax plus b are equal to 0, are -3 and 2, find the values of a and b. This question we do exactly like we did the last question. Again, it's the roots of the quadratic we're looking at here, and the roots are where the graph crosses the x-axis. Here, the graph crosses the x-axis at x equal to -3 and x equal to 2. Just like the last one, we can plus 3 to both sides here, and we'll be left with x plus 3 is equal to 0. And we can minus 2 from both sides here, and we'll be left with x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now, because both of these things are equal to 0, when we multiply them by each other, they're also going to be equal to 0. So we have x plus 3 multiplied by x minus 2 is equal to 0. Multiplying out the brackets, we're going to get that x multiplied by x minus 2 plus 3 multiplied by x minus 2 is equal to 0. That will leave us then with x squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 6 is equal to 0. And then adding the like terms where we have minus 2x and plus 3x, we get a final quadratic equation, which is x squared plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Therefore, in this particular quadratic, a here is equal to 1 and b is equal to -6. That's all you need to know in terms of forming a quadratic when you're given the roots. That brings to a close this video.